it's Miss Jennifer from Somerset Academy of Music, and today I'm going to show you how to play 7th chords. That's right, today we are going to learn everything you need to know to build 7th chords, including major 7th, dominant 7th, and diminished 7th chords. Before we get started, I'd just like to thank you for watching my video, and if you find it at all helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. And you're always welcome to share my videos with your family and friends. So today we are looking at 7th chords. All chords are made up of at least 3 notes that are 1/3 interval apart. 7th chords are made up of 4 notes, 1/3 interval apart. The notes of a chord come from any major scale. The formula for building a 7th chord is the first note, the 3rd note, the 5th note, and the 7th note of a major scale. Whether those notes are played natural, as they appear in the major scale, sharp, or flat, determines what kind of 7th chord they form. The most common forms of 7th chords are major, dominant, and minor. We will also look at the less common diminished 7ths. And if you stick around all the way to the end, I will share a few other variants. All of the chords we're looking at today will be built using major and minor scales. The better you know your scales, the easier figuring out chords will be. If you'd like to learn more about scales, I have tutorials on every major and minor scale available on my channel. I also have a video about building basic chords, which would be helpful to understand what I'm going to talk about today. If you're unfamiliar with chords, I would suggest watching that video first. Let's start with the major 7th chord. As I was saying, all chords are based on scales. A major chord is built on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of a major scale. We refer to the 1st note as the root note, and it's also where the scale and the chord get their name. If we add the 7th note of a major scale to our major chord, we create the major 7th chord. Let's look at the C major scale. It is made up of 7 notes in alphabetical order. They are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, ending back at C. The 1st note, or root note, is C. The 3rd note of the scale is E, and the 5th note of the scale is G. The 7th note is B. Therefore, the C major 7th chord is spelled C, E, G, B. The distance between each of these notes is a 3rd interval. The major 7th chord formula is always root 3rd 5 7 of any major scale. Let's build the G major 7th chord using that same formula. The G major scale is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Remember, any major 7th chord is built on the root note, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th of a major scale. Therefore, the G major 7th chord is G, B, D, and F sharp. The interval between each of these notes is a 3rd. Remember, every chord is built on thirds. The pattern of thirds in a major 7th chord is major 3rd, minor 3rd, major 3rd. Now let's talk about the dominant 7th chord. It is the most common of all the 7th chords. It's probably the one that will sound the most familiar to you. When we say 7th chord, this is what most people think of. It is often just referred to as the 7th chord. So when you hear or see C7 or G7, those mean the same as C dominant 7 or G dominant 7. The dominant is simply implied. The dominant 7th chord has an interesting formula and function. The formula is root, 3rd, 5th, and flat 7th. So we are going to use the 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note as they appear in the major scale, but we are going to flat or lower the 7th note of the major scale 1/2 step. Let's look at C major. Here's our scale. The root note is C, the 3rd is E, the 5th is G, and the 7th is B. We are going to lower the 7th, which is B, 1/2 step, making it B flat. Therefore, our C7 chord is spelled C, E, G, B flat. What makes this chord so interesting is that the dominant 7th chord is the same whether it's used in a major or a minor key. You will also notice that the flat 7th creates a clashing sound or tension that wants to resolve. For this reason, a dominant 7th chord is frequently used to create momentum. You will often find it as the chord right before a phrase or a song ends, because it creates a tension that seeks resolution. It's a powerful chord. Another interesting fact about 7th chords is that they are often played with the 5th note omitted. Remember, a chord may be made up of 3 or more notes, but not all of those notes have to be played every time. Also, the order in which we play the notes of a chord can be rearranged. We refer to this as inversions. Look for that topic in another video. Let's build a G7 chord. Here are the notes for the G major scale. Remember the formula. We need the root note, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th note flatted. So the notes of the G7 chord are G, B, D, F. We lower the 7th note F sharp 1/2 step and it becomes F natural. The pattern of thirds in a dominant 7th chord are major 3rd, minor 3rd, minor 3rd. Let's learn the pattern for a minor 7th chord. Just like the major 7th chord, a minor 7th chord will be 4 notes 1/3 apart. There are several ways you can figure out a minor 7th chord. The quickest way is to use a dominant 7th chord. All you have to do is lower the 3rd of any dominant 7th chord and you will create a minor 7th chord. Remember C dominant 7th? That was C, E, G, B flat. All we have to do is lower the 3rd 1/2 step. That's what a flat does. It lowers the note 1/2 step. So our E becomes E flat. So C minor 7 is simply C, E flat, G, B flat. So the formula for a minor 7th chord is root note, flat 3rd, 5th note, flat 7th of any major scale. If you know your minor scales, that's another way you can find a minor 7th. It will always be the root note, the 3rd note, the 5th note, and the 7th note of a minor scale. That will get you the same results. Let's build G minor 7th. Remember our G7 chord? That was G, B, D, F. We can easily turn that into a G minor by lowering the 3rd note a 1/2 step. The B becomes B flat. So G minor 7th chord is G, B flat, D, F. The pattern of thirds is a minor 3rd, a major 3rd, and a minor 3rd. Let's build one more minor 7th chord. Let's try to build the A minor 7th chord using the A major scale. The A major scale is A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Remember the formula for the minor 7th chord? It is root, flat 3rd, 5th, flat 7th. So the A minor 7th chord would be spelled A, C, E, G. Both the C sharp and the G sharp became natural when we lowered the 3rd and the 5th scale tone 1/2 step. Up next, we're going to look at the diminished 7th chord. It's a less common chord, but it's still good to learn. The formula for a diminished 7th chord is root, flat 3rd, flat 5th, and double flat 7th. That's right, I said double flat. It's a real thing. That means we are going to flat the 7th note twice, or in other words, lower it a whole step which is 2 half steps. The easiest way to find a diminished 7th chord is to lower the 5th and 7th of a minor 7th chord. You can also get there by flatting the 3rd, 5th, and double flatting the 7th note of a major 7th chord. Let's find the C diminished 7th chord. We'll start with our C minor 7th chord. We have C, E flat, G, and B flat. We need to lower the 5th to G flat and the 7th to B double flat. B double flat is the same key as A natural. It's important to remember that we can raise and lower pitches, but we can't change their letter names. If we change letter names, the interval also changes. Remember, chords are always made up of third intervals. If you'd like more information on things like double flats and other unusual accidentals, I will put a link for another video right here. Let's build G diminished 7th chord. Let's start with the G major 7th chord this time. The G major 7th chord is G, B, D, F sharp. The formula for a diminished 7th chord is root, flat 3rd, flat 5th, and double flat 7th. So B becomes B flat, D becomes D flat, and F sharp, lowered a whole step, becomes F flat, which is the same as E natural, making the G diminished 7th chord G, B flat, D flat, F flat. The pattern of thirds for the diminished 7th chord is minor 3rd, minor 3rd, minor 3rd. Now we'll look at the half diminished 7th chord. Its formula is root, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. So the difference between a diminished 7th and a half diminished 7th is the 7th note of the scale is only flatted once. So C diminished 7th is C, E flat, G flat, B flat. G diminished 7th is G, B flat, D flat, F. An interesting fact about the half diminished 7th chord is how it is usually notated on a chord chart. You will most frequently see it written as minor 7th flat 5, and less commonly as half dim. So C minor 7th 5 is the same as C half diminished 7th, and G minor 7th flat 5 is G half diminished 7th. The pattern of thirds for a half diminished 7th chord is minor 3rd, minor 3rd, major 3rd. A few other 7th chords you might see are the augmented 7, which pattern is root 3rd, sharp 5, flat 7. Minor major 7th chord is root, flat 3rd, 5th, 7th. All of these chords can have additional alterations and extensions, including suspension, which we will be looking at in another video. Wow, we learned a lot today. Let's recap all the 7th chords we discussed. The major 7th chord, its formula is root, 3rd, 5th, 7th. Its pattern of intervals is major 3rd, minor 3rd, major 3rd. The dominant 7th chord, its formula is root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7. The intervals are major 3rd, minor 3rd, minor 3rd. The diminished 7th chord is root, flat 3rd, flat 5th, double flat 7th. It is made up of 3 minor thirds. The half diminished 7th chord is root, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. It is made up of 2 minor thirds and 1 major third. Remember, all chords are built on different types of third intervals. Let me know down in the comments which is your favorite 7th chord. Thanks for watching. If you found this video at all helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. Share this video with your family and friends, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video real soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.